Hi everybody, I'm going to make a video this morning showing you how to alter an SVG which when I list it on Etsy it requires the long mat and A3 or tabloid paper, but I'm going to show you how to alter it so that you can cut it from smaller paper if you want to. So I'm going to bring in a file that I get asked about a lot, which is the basic wine glass and mini bottle box. If I just show you it in the sales pics, you'll know the one I mean. It's that one. I'm not going to bring that in because that's the PNG of it, but it's that one. Right, so I'm going to bring the SVG in. Back to where it is. There it is. Okay. Right, so there it is on the canvas, and I'll just quickly go through the scores. I'm going to select that first subgroup, operations menu, down to score and ungroup. Then I'm going to select the second subgroup with all the cuts in it and ungroup that. And I'm going to select the whole thing and ungroup that. Another video showing you how to properly deal with scores is elsewhere on the channel. This is showing you how to amend this SVG so that you can cut it from, I think it might be A4 it'll end up at. We'll see anyway. And everything, right, so everything's a separate piece now, and we can just go ahead and attach the score lines. Oops, that was save. I'm just clicking Control A on my keyboard, Alt A actually. It's a bit quicker. Right, so that's the whole SVG and everything's a separate shape, and if we click on one of these we can see it's narrow enough to fit on an A4 or a letter size sheet of card, but it's way too long. It's 37 centimetres long at the moment, which is why you need A3 or tabloid. So what we're going to do is we're going to slice off all these base tabs and we're going to add glue tabs so that you can attach them to the main wall and the back and the front. Okay, so we'll start off with this one, and I'll zoom in so we can see better what we're doing. Move it up there. Okay, so I think the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to detach the score line because we need just the cut piece on its own. And what we're going to do is we're going to bring a shape in, and I'm also going to use only the free shapes. I don't subscribe, so this is all going to be done with free shapes that you can get off Design Space. So I've just brought a square in. I'm going to unlock the padlock so I can alter the dimensions of it. I'm going to position it just up to that score line. Can you see? I'm going to go just there, and then I'm going to tap it up a little bit with my cursor keys so I know it's bang on it. And then I'm going to resize it just by dragging on that corner handle. And now I've got that selected, I'm going to click and select the cut piece, the orangey cut piece behind it, and I'm clicking slice. So we don't want the grey bits, but we do want this bit because we still need that, and that's the bottom of the box. And this bit has jumped forward, so I'm just going to send it to the back. I'll zoom out a little bit just so you're clear on what we're working on, so I don't want to resize it. So this is the box front, and this is the flap that goes at the bottom of it. So originally, you might just be able to see it there. This piece has a score line there for where that piece was originally attached, and we need to get rid of that score line too. So we're just going to click on the scores, and we're going to go to the contour button, and we're going to get rid of that score line right at the bottom. I've clicked on something else there, haven't I? Oh, I've selected the cut piece, that's why. Did I attach it? No, there we are. Sorry about that. I've clicked on the scores now. I'm going to contour, and I'm going to get rid of that bottom score line because we don't need it anymore. That's just going to be a cut edge now. So now I can select that box front piece and attach it, and that's now ready to make with the scores attached, and that's the acetate that goes behind it. So what we need to do now is we need to add a glue tab to that, but I think we're going to do the back first in the same way. So it's the same method, you're going to bring in a free square, you're going to unlock the padlock, you're going to bring it just up to that score line. I'm just tapping it up so it just disappears. Drag it so it encloses that bottom panel, and then you select, is this attached? Yeah, it is. So detach it, detach the score line first. Select the orange piece, select the grey piece and slice. And again, we don't need any of the grey pieces, but we do need that because that's the panel, the base panel that we're going to attach the score line to. And because we've messed around with this, it's jumped forward, so I'm just sending it to the back again so I can see the scores. Then I'm going to click on those score lines, I'm going to go to contour, and I'm removing that bottom score line because now this is a cut edge. So I'll just zoom out again so you can see where we are. So now that's the box back, and I'm going to attach the scores to it, and that also is ready to cut now. So now we've got these two panels which originally attached to the front and the back like that. And so we need to attach score lines so that they can join on. When you assemble it, you can join them to the pieces they were originally attached to. So let's zoom in on this one. We'll do this one first. Move that out of the way. So again, I'm going to bring in, to create this glue tab with sloping sides, because if you pay for access, you've got this trapezoid shape. You could use that to create your tab. I can't even show you how to do it because I don't. I can actually if I just don't make it. Yeah, so if you got access, this is what you'd do. You'd bring in that trapezoid shape. You check the measurements of this, which is 17.186 wide. You're going to unlock this trapezoid shape. You're going to make it 17.186 or whatever yours tell you. If you're working in inches, it's going to be different, isn't it? So same width as this orange piece, but a glue tab needs to be about 12 millimeters deep. Yeah, I don't actually like that, you see, because you're stuck with the angle of the trapezoid's got. I don't think you can change it. If you can, if you know better than me that you can change the angle and make it steeper, then if you pay for access, use that. But I'm going to show you how to do it if you don't pay for access and you've got to use a rectangle shape. So again, I'm going to bring in a square. Good grief. I'm going to unlock it, just remind myself that's 17.186. So this is going to be 17.186 wide, and I'm going to make it 1.2 centimeters tall. So there's my basic glue tab. And I'll bring it down here. I will align it. I'm going to center it horizontally with the piece it's going to be attached to. And then I'm going to zoom in and just move it down to where I think it needs to be, about there. Before I weld that, because that's what we're going to do, but before I weld that to the orange piece, I'm going to put my new score line in, because you're putting a glue tab in, so you also need a score line so you can fold it. So I brought that one in, rotate it because it's going horizontally, and then we know this is 17.186, so that's how wide this needs to be, and it's got it in the height column, but that's because with score lines you only get one dimension. So 17.186, and now it's the right length to go on the box. So I'll just move that out of the way, and what I'm going to do with those two actually is I'm going to align them at the top, and then I know the score line's in exactly the right place, and I'm going to center them horizontally. So there, if I just zoom in a bit, you can see the shape, you can just see the square, the score line. Good grief, I cannot speak this morning. You can just see the score line there sitting at the top of it. So now I'm going to bring the what is going to be our score tab down. I'm just going to make sure that they're all centered horizontally, and then I'm going to select my grey square and the orange piece, and I'm going to hit weld. And you know it's worked correctly if there's no line between those pieces. I'm just going to show you what you don't want to see. If you didn't have that quite far enough down and you hit weld with that, it would weld them, but there'd actually still be a little gap there and it wouldn't work. It'd cut it in two separate pieces. So you just need to make sure that your grey box is attached properly. It's far enough down to weld onto the orange piece without leaving a gap. So I'll just centre those horizontally again. Select the grey, select the orange, and weld. You could use Unite, I think, in case it went wrong, and then you can go back. Right, so now we need to create sloping sides on this glue tab. I mean, you don't have to. Your box might work without it, but just in case you get things a millimetre wrong when you glue the walls together, these straight corners might cause you a few problems, and it's usually easier if you just get a little bit of angle on them. So to make it easier to see where the angle should be, in case the score's not exactly, sometimes, oh super, let's just attach those for now. And then nothing can go wrong. Actually, that looks okay. So now I'm going to bring in a free shape which has an angle on it, which I think is going to be good for a glue tab. And I think that's the hexagon, the little six-sided one there. Yeah, that looks like a good angle to me. So I'm going to zoom in again. I'm on the PC, I'm using control and I'm scrolling my mouse wheel. It's a nice quick way to zoom in. You're going to bring that hexagon over so it overlaps the orange piece. I've gone as big as I can go. I'm at 700%, so I can't get any bigger. So I'm using my cursor keys now to just tap it over to exactly where that score line starts. Then I need to detach this again because otherwise I can't slice it. So now I'm selecting, in fact, before I do anything, I'm just going to copy that hexagon just because I know I'm going to need it again at the other side. So the hexagon's selected, select the orange piece and click slice. Now we can get rid of all the grey, we can get rid of that. The orange piece has jumped to the front because we've been working on it. So if we just send it backwards, we can now see we've got a nice sloping edge at the start of that glue tab. If that's too fiddly for you, you can't be bothered doing that, don't do it and just snip it off with scissors when you've made it. But I think it's nice to get it done. It's not difficult really. So you're going to do the same at this side now. I'll zoom in a bit. You don't need to worry about how far down the hexagon goes. What you're doing is you're making sure the edge of the hexagon meets the orange piece exactly where the score line is. And then you know that you're not cutting into the main piece of the box. So again, we're going to select the orange piece, we're going to select the grey piece, and we're going to slice. And now get rid of, I'm just selecting and hitting delete there. Get rid of all those bits. This has jumped to the front again. So we're just going to send it backward. I'm going to attach it now to that score line. And so now there we've got the tab which was originally attached to your front piece with a score line ready to reattach it when you cut it from A4. So we need to do the same thing now to this. This is the flap that gets attached to the back or was attached to the back and needs to be attached to the back with a glue tab now. So again, I'm going to check the size of this, 17.12. I'm going to bring in a shape. I'm going to make it 17 point, when I say shape I mean score line of course. I'm going to make it 17.12 centimetres long and rotate it. Then I'm going to select both those pieces and I'm going to centre them horizontally and I'm going to align them at the top, and then my score line is in exactly the right place. Not going to attach them just yet. So we'll just remind ourselves it's 17 point. You get that, don't you? Sizes jump about. Now it's saying 17.117. Doesn't matter. You know that you're talking about a thousandth of a centimetre there. It really doesn't matter. So we're going to bring in the shape to make the glue tab now. Unlock it so we can make it the dimensions we want. I'm just going to say 17.11 by 1.2 centimetres tall. And I'm just going to align those centered horizontally to make sure that everything's in a good place. Select both of those. Let's see if I've got it in the right place to get rid of. I have. Excellent. So that's now welded. So we've got the score line in position and the glue tab added, but we just need to put some sloping sides on the glue tab. So again, we're going to bring that hexagon in. We're going to overlap it on top of the cut piece. I'll zoom in. Make sure I've got it in the right place. I did have. I'm going to select the orange piece and the grey piece. Just trying to put it in the best place for you. And slice. And now we get rid of all the grey and that little corner of orange we didn't want. And we can see that the orange piece has jumped. Sorry, my PC's going really slow this morning. Has jumped to the front again, so we send it to the back, and there's our score. And so we just need to do the same for that sloping edge at this side. Select the grey, select the orange, and slice. You cannot have your score attached to the orange while you do this. You can only slice two pieces. So you've got to do it that way. And again, you're going to send that to the back. And now you can attach the score to the flap. We'll zoom out again. And that's the flap that was on there originally. And now you're going to attach it with that glue tab you've just created. Now we need to do the same for the wall pieces, because even though they're very narrow, they're still too long to cut from letter or A4. So we can get rid of one of them because these pieces are identical, and what we'll do is we'll do the work and then we'll duplicate it. So it's exactly the same procedure as we've just done there. We need to slice it, create the glue tab, delete the score from the original piece, and then create a new one. So first of all, I'm going to detach it so the score line and the shape are not attached anymore. Then I'm going to bring in a free square. I'm going to uncheck it so I can drag it to the shape I want. Just take that tiny bit higher, like that. Select the grey, select the orange. Why won't it let me do that? There we are. Select the grey, select the orange, and slice. I don't want the grey, but I do want the orange because that's going to be my new tab, my new base section that I need to put a glue tab on. So we'll send this to the back because we've been working on it so it hops around in the layers panel. And now we can select the score. It'll let me. There we go. Go to contour and get rid of that bottom score line because now that piece doesn't have a glue tab on the end of it or anything on the end of it. It's just a clean cut edge. So I'll just scroll out. So now that's your box wall side, and we can attach the score line to it and it's ready to cut. And so now we know that's correct, we can duplicate it. So there are your two walls ready to cut. This is a little base section that we need to add a glue tab to, so I'm going to zoom in again. It is 8.452, if we look up there, centimetres wide. So I'm going to bring in, again, the free square, unlock the padlock, 8.452 wide and 1.2 tall. I usually make my glue tabs 12 millimeters tall, 12 millimeters deep. So just select both of those and we'll center them horizontally to make sure they're where they should be. But before we weld them, we're going to bring our new score line in. So shapes, bring in a line which comes in as a score by default. How big should it be? 8.452. 8.452 centimeters. And we'll just select all those and align them horizontally. And then with that score, I'll just zoom in. We just need to move it down to where those two shapes are going to join. Okay, and now we can weld this glue tab and the orange piece. Combine menu. We'll do unite just in case it goes wrong. It's jumped to the front because we've been working on it, So all you do is send it backwards, and there you can see the score lines. But we're not going to attach it yet because we still need to slice it to get that nice angled corner on the glue tab. So again, we're going to bring in that free hexagon. Doesn't matter what size it is, it's the angle of the side that we like. So we're just going to position that over the orange piece, exactly where the score line meets the edge of the cut piece. Then we select the grey, select the orange. In fact, just before we do that, I'll copy that hexagon and then I can just paste it. Select the grey, select the orange and slice. And then get rid of everything because we don't need it. And that's jumped to the front again. We just send it to the back. Paste that hexagon so I can use it on this side now. Again, you're just positioning it over the orange down to exactly where that score line. Can I zoom in? I can. The score line meets the edge of the cut piece. Like that. Select the grey, select the orange and slice. And then get rid of the bits you don't want. And again, send that to the back. So that's the little base section. So now we can attach the score and the piece and attach it. And there's your piece that you will cut and add to your smaller wall section. And we need two, of course, because we've got two walls. So we'll just duplicate it and pop it there. These already, have I attached those? Yeah, these already are small enough to cut. Will you get two? Yeah, you'll get both of those from one sheet of A4 or letter. They just fit on an A4. They are, yep, they will too. Well, let's make it. We'll try and make it and see what happens, eh? So in theory now, we should be able to choose A4. And that's how it lays it out. So if you cut it from, obviously you've got a few pieces there. Which piece doesn't it think will fit on A4? Ah, yeah, okay. It's saying that these won't cut on A4. The 286 millimeters long. A4 is 297, so you've got 11 millimeters to play with. So for these, yeah, I mean, it will fit on A4. So what I would do for these, when I can only cut from A4 and it's telling me they won't fit, what I do is I select them and I change the colour of them. Because I know I'm going to be using A4 paper, so I don't want to select 12 by 12 because if everything's the same colour, it's going to try and put these on the same mat. So I'm going to select that and I'm going to change the colour of that as well. Just going to make it any colour, it doesn't matter, because I want those two to be on a mat on their own, but we're going to have to say 12 by 12, even though it's not. It will cut from A4. What it won't do though is cut from letter. Letter is only 279 long. It's a bit shorter than A4, so you would anyway have to use 12 by 12 for those, but I'll send it to make it as if we're cutting it in the UK from A4. So this is what it looks like first. I'm going to choose A4. So we get one wall and two base pieces on one. We get another wall and the base flap that attached to the back on another. That's pretty neat. We get the front flap on one more. And then these, it won't let you choose A4, but it should let you choose 12 by 12. It will. So you're still using your short mat. So if you're on the Maker 3, you're okay there. There's the other one. You're still going to use your standard mat. You're telling it you're using 12 by 12 card, but you're not. You're just going to pop A4 on your mat and it will definitely cut from A4. And these, let's see what we can choose here. It should put both of those. Curses. It absolutely should put those. It will cut both of those from A4. The reason it's saying no is A4 is 210 millimeters wide and this is 206 millimeters wide. It absolutely will fit. I'm going to attach those. I'm going to hit make it again. Sorry, I'm jumping backwards and forwards a bit. Stick with me. So yeah, a wall and two side bases on one, a wall and the back base on another. And now these, again, we're going to have to choose 12 by 12, but trust me, if you put A4 on your mat and just move it a couple of millimeters over to the right from that very first grid line on your mat, that will cut comfortably from A4 and from letter, actually. And then these, again, we're obliged to choose 12 by 12 because a design space says it won't fit on A4, but it really will. So again, you're just going to use your standard mat, but stick A4 card on your mat. And then this is just the tiny piece of acetate for the window, which will for sure cut on A4. So if you're in the UK cutting from A4, you'll need 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 sheets of A4 card and 1 sheet of A4 acetate. So we'll just go back now and we will send it to make it, but this time we're going to pick 12 by 12 because we know they won't fit on letter. So we'll pick 12 by 12 for the whole project, which I know will still make a lot of people happy. Right, so because we're doing that, I'm going to try everything the same colour this time. So yeah, let's put that on the orange one, and let's put that on the orange one. And not the acetate, obviously, but I am going to put these on the orange mat as well. And I'm going to detach those and attach them separately. Are they attached? Yeah, they are. Right, let's see what happens there. So going to choose 12 by 12. Yep, you got the box back and a side wall on one mat. You've got the box front and another side wall on another mat. You've got both inserts there, the inside inserts, bottom and the top one, on another mat. And you've got both side wall base flaps and both the back and the front base flap on another one. So if you're cutting it from 12 by 12, you need 4 sheets of 12 by 12 and a small piece of acetate, which you'll cut on whatever sheet you've got. So I hope that helps. If you've got any questions, don't hesitate to come back to me. You can comment on here to ask a question, or you can contact me on Etsy or Facebook. The links will be in the description below. And I hope that helps. You can apply that technique to any box or bag of mine which requires the long mat and A3 paper, but you want to cut it on 12 by 12 or A4 or letter because that's all you can get hold of. Okay, don't hesitate to ask if you've got any questions, and I hope that's been useful for some of you. Thanks a lot. Bye.